Hello and welcome to Sbs Sports. I'm Maddie Nunez.
I'm Sophia Scaturo, and we have a wonderful week of sports ahead.
We begin tonight with a recap of last week's football game against BYU. Here's our very own Oliver Hayes, Liam Howard, and Leo Rivera.
The number 25 BYU Cougars danced into Folsom Field last Saturday. In a close game, the Buffs held the lead going into the fourth quarter, but ultimately fell 24-21. Salter threw for over 100 yards, had a touchdown in the air, and added another score with 49 yards on the ground. Draylon Miller was a bright spot on the offense, taking some snaps out of Wildcat formation. The defense had 4 tackles for loss with Tawfiq Bayard, grabbing 12 total tackles.
Though the result was disappointing, Buff Nation was out in full force last weekend. Liam Howard once again sought out to see how the fans lock in for game day.
All right, Big 12 opener here in Boulder. The Colorado Buffaloes ready to face the Storm and Mormons. We're going to go see how people are getting ready for the game. You are watching Tailgate Takeover. Let's go. How are we getting ready for the game today?
I'm already ready.
Already ready?
I arrived ready.
All right, showed up ready?
Do you want to see my jacket?
Yeah, we got to see your jacket.
All right, do this.
Okay, all right. Here for the gold out. Here for the gold rush. I like it. I like it, okay. How are we feeling about the game today? Do we think we're going to win?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we're going to win.
How many points do you think we're going to win by?
That's not important. As
Not
long
important.
as we get a W, we're good.
All right. I like to see it.
We're gonna go 2-0 on BYU. Our volleyball team beat them the other day.
Okay.
And we are now.
All right, how many points are we beating them by?
We're gonna beat them by 13.
13? All right, that's a pretty good score. Let's get right over here. Let's get right over here. We're ready to go.
Here's the boys.
How we feeling about the game? How we feeling about the game, boys?
Let's go, baby.
Hey, feeling great?
Bust my 20.
Bust by 20?
No, bust my 20.
By a mil, okay.
Mill?
Okay.
I'll take a mill. I'll take a mill.
All right. Who's having a big game today?
I think the defense.
Defense, okay.
The defense.
Defense stepping up, all right.
I think Finian.
Okay, all right.
Safety. He's going to
Yes,
have
sir.
a great game. He's going to have an interception. We're going to
Interception,
have 2
okay.
turnovers as a defense.
2 turnovers?
Jordan Seaton.
Oh, okay.
He's going to have no sacks allowed.
Their quarterback wears number 47. How do we feel about a quarterback repping number 47?
47?
He wears 47? Yes.
Well, isn't that a linebacker?
That's like a linebacker's number, I would think, right? But he wears
the
47.
Mormons.
It's the Mormons. Do we think a real quarterback can wear 47?
I think I think he can come in here and wear 47,
Yeah.
but he's got to wear number when coming out.
All right, okay.
Yeah, because he gonna get his number.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's go, Bucks. Yeah, appreciate y'all. We're just seeing how hyped we are for the game today.
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, ours goes to 11.
Goes to 11? Okay, yeah. Oh, do we think we're getting a win over BYU? Yeah?
Can we say bad words in front of BYU
Yes, of
students?
course.
Okay, heck yeah.
Heck yeah. How hyped are we for the game today?
We're so hyped!
We're so hyped.
Let's go!
How are we gonna How BYU? Bucks!
Go, Buffs! What is a BYU?
What is a BYU? That's right.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It's actually political propaganda.
What is BYU?
Let's go,
Buffs!
Bucks!
Go, Buffs!
Come on, baby!
CU students certainly out here consuming things you would not see around Utah ahead of a BYU game. How hyped are we for the game today?
So high!
How much do we think the Colorado's beating BYU by today?
At least 7, at least 10, at least 10.
Okay. What do we think of BYU?
F the Cougs!
Is there anything else that we're doing to get prepared for the game today?
We're just hanging out, tailgating, the vibe. Yep, of course.
All right. We all enjoy the game. Thank you for hanging out. All right, so that's a wrap on this week's Tailgate Takeover. We'll send it back to the studio. BYU about to come play the Buffaloes. We're heading inside.
Thank you, Liam. Now we have some statements that we here at SBS are debating whether or not they are overreactions. For this week's Folsom Feud, here's Sarah Burnett and Colby Wyatt.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Burnett and I'm here with Colby Wyatt for this week's Folsom Feud. Today we're going to be discussing some overreaction statements based on Colorado football and the first few weeks of the season. So our first statement is Colorado will not get a bowl game this year.
Man, well, that's really starting out hot. I think it's still pretty early into the season. I am going to say that's an overreaction just because, I look at West Virginia and I look at Kansas State. West Virginia definitely, hopefully for the Buffs, a win. Kansas State probably win too, and then from there you just got to steal 2 more wins, and I think with the schedule that's possible.
I'm going to say this is not an overreaction, but I do understand where you're coming from. I think the Buffs are not even in a position to be thinking about a bowl game at this point in the season, and all they should really be focusing on is a conference win at the very least. So, moving on, our next statement is Caden Salter has not proven he is QB1.
I kind of like that. I don't think that's an overreaction. I mean, he hasn't blown me away at all. And we've seen 2 snaps from our 5-star freshman. I know he's young. But yeah, I don't think that's really an overreaction. I really want to see more from him.
I want to see more from him as well, but I do think that's a bit of an overreaction because, I mean, I think he's been gaining some consistency throughout the season so far, and definitely gaining playing time. I think he has proven he's a dual threat. He's scored at least 1 touchdown per game using his legs so far, which is pretty impressive. And I also just think overall he has the most experience between all 3 choices for quarterback. So our next statement is BYU does not deserve to be ranked.
That's an overreaction. I mean, they've been so dominant on both sides of the ball. I mean, granted, it was a close game against CU, right? But, man, they're just looking so good. And, like, the whole offense is rolling. Defense is looking more than good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's overreaction.
I agree. It is an overreaction. I think BYU has a pretty elite defense from what I've seen. And that combined with their quarterback, who's a true freshman, by the way, I think he's doing an amazing job keeping up with the big guys who have a lot more experience than him. Not to mention BYU is currently undefeated. So they do definitely deserve to be ranked. Next, we have Colorado has proven they will not be in a down year.
Has proven they won't be in a down year? That's an overreaction. This is definitely a down year, I'd say. Even looking at last year, I mean, hey, as of right now, it's even a down year considering CU's first year. So, yeah.
I agree. It's an overreaction considering we haven't even won a conference game yet. And I think it's clear that we're still kind of rebuilding the program a little bit after losing our 2 key players last year. So, yeah, definitely an overreaction. Next, we have Colorado has a real shot at beating TCU.
Man, real shot is an interesting word, but I would have to say that's an overreaction. Just because you look at, I mean, TCU has done everything so well. They have the run game that CU can't defend against. It's just so much the passing game, even the defense. They don't have a mobile QB, and that's really the only hope I'd say for CU. So,
I agree. It's definitely an overreaction. TCU has an amazing quarterback too, who has over 1,000 passing yards just this season so far, and I think that their passing game is just elite and better than Colorado's, to be frank. Our final statement is fans are showing up more so to see Ralphie run than they are to see Colorado win.
Well, that's why I go to games, so I don't know. I'd say that's that's not an overreaction.
That's definitely not an overreaction. Based on a lot of fans I've talked to as well, they're definitely feeling like they have nothing else to celebrate besides Colorado's newest addition, Ralphie number 7.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Oliver Hayes, alongside Leopoldo Rivera IV and Liam Howard. We are here at Folsom Field after the Colorado Buffaloes suffered a 24-21 defeat to the number 25 BYU Cougars. Leo, what was your initial reaction to this game?
Well, it's disappointing, Oliver, because like many games in the Deion Sanders era, this was very winnable for the Colorado Buffaloes, and it just came down to a lack of discipline, a lack of execution, and that was the reason why Colorado got the loss today.
Yeah, there was a lot of penalties. You even talked about that, and Coach Prime just echoed it throughout the press conference that there needs to be more consistency. Guys need to step up and do their jobs, and it starts with the coaches who need to put the players in better positions. But, Leon, what was your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I agree with you on the lack of execution. I think especially in that second half, Colorado struggled to execute on the same plays that they were executing on in the first half. You look at Caden Salter specifically. He was very decisive in that first half, and then in that second half, we saw him trying to extend plays, and it did not end up working out well for him, and it ultimately cost his team. I think that the defense sort of started to pull back a little bit towards the end as well, but overall, just a lack of decision making and a lack of fortitude in Colorado in that second half.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about the offense. The offense got going early. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first 2 drives, and things kind of became stagnant. But one thing that kind of stood out was the fact that Draylon Miller was in the Wildcat, had a few direct snaps, and took off for a few runs, even scored a touchdown on one of those Wildcat runs. But as you mentioned, Liam, things slowed down in the second half.
I think it was just BYU's ability to adjust. They came out, they added the QB spy on Caden Salter. They were able to limit what he was able to do with his legs. And it just seems like schematically they outmatched Colorado. Pat Shermer did a great job with his, opening script coming out and giving Colorado that 14-0 lead. But after that, there was no adjustments. Colorado kept running the same plays that just didn't execute and that were, very readable for BYU's defense, which is unfortunate because it kind of overshadowed a great performance by the offensive line and their ability to run the ball. Colorado had 99 rushing yards in that first quarter, Oliver Hayes, which was highly impressive. And ultimately, it all just crashed down because quarters 2 and 4 were scoreless.
Liam, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I think that comes for BYU when you have a coach who's been with this program for 10 years. This is something he's used to doing and used to adjusting to teams like this. Colorado still seems to be trying to find that, and a few years into the Deion Sanders era here, that's continued to remain a theme for this team. And I mentioned with Caden Salter the decision making sort of falling off in that second half there. I think that's something that they need to see not only from him but from all the quarterbacks in this room. That's part of the reason this quarterback battle has gone on for so long for the Buffs is that they haven't been able to find someone who has been able to step up and continually make those decisions and continually fire on all cylinders and play up to their best throughout the entire course of a game. It's really been a roller coaster ride for that room.
Yeah, I think that's why Coach Prime has echoed the consistency. But looking at the defensive side of the ball, they only held BYU to 24 points. But when Coach Prime was asked about whether or not he was happy with the defense, he kept it short. No, next question. What does the defense need to do did the defense impress you at all? And if not, what do they need to do to show up next week against TCU?
Yeah, it might be a little bit hot take, but I thought the defense did their job. They ultimately gave Colorado a chance to win that game. They gave Caden Salter the ball back with a 2-minute drive. They weren't dealt a very good card either. There were a couple, turnovers that got them on short fields that they were able to get a sack, make a couple plays happen to force a missed field goal. And ultimately, I don't think this loss comes on the defense. I think it comes on the offense that went scoreless in 2 out of the 4 quarters of this game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think that early on in the game, this defense looked par for par with the best defense in the country to this point. And that's really exciting to see for this coaching staff, I think. And I do think towards the later half of the game, we started to see him get maybe a little bit tired. But I think that I think that, to be honest, this team was stepping up and doing their job, like you said. They were. We talked earlier in this week about them not necessarily having to match BYU pound for pound,
Correct,
but at least just having to keep their team in the game. I think that's what they did. I think they did their job there. And, when the offense was firing on all cylinders early in the game, that's when Colorado took the lead. But then, of course, when they took a step back as the game went along, that's when the defense started to get tired. It started to show a little bit. And that's where the cracks in this team really started to come to the surface and ultimately wore this game down.
I think overall you kind of have to be happy about the Buffs' defensive showing, especially after what we saw as journalists and what the fans saw for the first few weeks, whether it was tackling, whether it was the secondary, whether it was stopping the run. It was across the board, the Colorado defense was struggling. And today they looked a lot more aggressive when attacking the ball. There are a few times, even though they had two interceptions basically in their hands where Chase Roberts was able to reel it in. Those were plays where that looked like they could have been made, able to pressure Bear Bachmeier quite a bit. And it was really the play that kind of stood out to me that really just hurt him was that long 3rd down run that set up the 4th down conversion for the BYU late in the second half. But we've talked a lot about this game. A little issues with the mics, but we were talking about how the Buffs can recuperate and bounce back against TCU next week. Leo, what do they need to do?
I don't know if there's anything, that they can do in practice that's going to change the outcome of the game, Oliver. But they try to capitalize on the opportunities that present themselves throughout this game. You got to be more disciplined, and you have to capitalize on those opportunities once again. I think if the Buffs do that, they will be able to have much more success next week in TCU.
And Liam, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And Coach Prime has said in just about every single press conference to this point in the season that the opportunities are there. The opportunities are there, and they're just missing them slightly. Whether we saw that on offense with Caden Salter or defense with those dropped interceptions that would have turned this game around. Like I talked about early on in the week, this Colorado team needs to get an interception execution. They need to steal a drive from BYU in order to try and go at least close to pound for pound with the defense that they were going to bring to the table. And they were not able to do that today, and I think that showed in the final score. But I think that that's something that if they are able to do that against TCU with the great offense that they had, that would be an absolute win and a huge momentum booster for this team.
Yeah, you guys covered some great ground with those two answers, that we'll have to just see exactly what the Buffs do to try and bounce back against TCU. But for the first 2 seasons of Coach Prime, the Coach Prime era, the Buffs have found some magic, specifically that first win of the Coach Prime era down in Fort Worth. Let's see if they can do it again next week. But there is a long time until that game kicks off. My name is Oliver Hayes alongside Leopoldo Rivera IV and Liam Howard, and as always, you heard it here first.
Ahead of the Buffs matchup against TCU, our crew on SBS Football Live shared their thoughts on the outcome down in Fort Worth.
That moves us to our feature game this week. The Colorado Buffaloes taking on the TCU Horned Frogs in Fort Worth. Who are you taking?
It's down in Fort Worth. Josh Hoover's home. That TCU offense is going to be too much for them Colorado Buffaloes to handle. I said it earlier that the defensive backs will have to show out and have a good game, which they were expected to this year. They just haven't been able to. I mean, we see Makari Vickers struggle, Tion Park struggle. They need R.J. Johnson back for this game, right? Salter and that offensive line will be able to run the ball and pass. I do think it will kind of be a little bit of offensive shootout, right? But I think the Buffs will lose in that shootout.
Yeah, I agree. I think TCU at home is a tall order for the Buffs defense. Obviously, yeah. So I think unless CU dominates time of possession and keeps the quarterback off TCU's quarterback off the field, I think TCU takes it at their house.
Yeah, it's back where it all began. I'm in G. Carter Stadium. I remember watching the game that day, the first game of the Coach Prime era, not expecting anything. And I think that's what, if you're CU, you have to go into this game. You can't expect anything. You have to have nothing to lose because you're staring down the barrel of 2-6 right now. And while I think that they could come out and, again, like by BYU, put up a little bit of a fight, I think TCU's offense and the road environment, coupled with some of Salter's mental mistakes that may wear on them, and just kind of the weight of those past 2 losses, or not past 2, but to Georgia Tech and to BYU, of games that kind of got away from them that they should have won, they may not be able to put it together, at least right now.
Yeah, I think, there's no graphics on the screen for a reason. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm also wearing purple for a reason, so I can look good with this.
I got purple too.
TCU's offense with Josh Hoover is airing the heck out of the ball. Colorado's defense can't stop a clock. That is going to be put to the test big time in this game. It's a bad-looking matchup. And Colorado's offense sort of spinning its tires as of late and going into this game. They're going to need them to step up. Don't know if they can do that. But you mentioned the last time they went down to Fort Worth. And the last time that Coach Prime took a trip to Fort Worth, he left with a win in an offensive shootout, which is exactly what we're in store for this week. Give me the Buffs by 1,000,000 over TCU. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on SBS Football Live. For Liam, Harrison, Xavier, and Aditya, thank you very much for joining us, and you heard it here first.
In 2023, the Buffs went down to Fort Worth and upset the number 17 TCU Horned Frogs to start Coach Prime's tenure. 2 years later, the Buffs are looking to do the same. TCU has one of the best offenses in Big 12, averaging 37 points and 400 yards per game. The Horned Frogs offense is a well-oiled machine, led by Josh Hoover's cannon of an arm. The Buffs defense will have their hands full. On the other side of the ball, the Colorado offense has been like the Tin Man, needing a heart. Quarterback Caden Salter is the heart of the Buffs offense right now, but has been missing a few beats. But if the Colorado's offense executes on all cylinders against a passing defense that allows the second most yards per game in the Big 12, Salter and the offense could prove they are back on track. Kickoff is set for 5:30 Mountain Time, and you can catch coverage of the game on our socials and website.
The Buffs are taking on the TCU Horned Frogs on the road tomorrow. Kickoff slated for 5:30 p.m. Temperatures will be in the 90s with clear skies, which will hold up until halftime. with temperatures around 90 as the sun continues to set. Full time, we'll see temperatures dip slightly to about 88 degrees. Should be a pleasant game for the Buffs, and we'll wish them luck as they take on the TCU Horned Frogs. Go Buffs!
On Tuesday, the Big 12 publicly reprimanded and fined CU for derogatory chants at Saturday's game against BYU. The chants attacked the Mormon faith, which many BYU fans and some CU students practice. Here's Lincoln Roach with today's Buff Banner.
F the Mormons. The chant echoed throughout the stands of Folsom Field Saturday night as the Buffs took on Brigham Young University, where nearly 98% of the student population are Latter-day Saints, often referred to as Mormons. Look, profanity is synonymous with Folsom Field. Anyone who's been to the stadium knows the chant that comes after the CU fight song and what happens when Nebraska or Colorado State come to town. But the vulgarity spewed at those games revolves around a hatred for the schools themselves. What we saw Saturday was different, an attack on faith that left some CU students in the crosshairs, facing harassment from their fellow fans on the sole basis of their religion. I was in the student section Saturday, and when I first heard the phrase, I didn't think anything of it. On the 6th, 7th, 8th, 12th time, nothing. Then, this week I spoke to several CU students who practiced the faith and were in the stands that night. I learned that it wasn't just the chant. All of them faced harassment that night at a level they'd never experienced before. It left them feeling that on a campus which prides itself on diversity, as students and as fans, they might not be welcome. Threats of physical violence they all overheard centered around Mormon, not BYU. On Instagram accounts like Barstool Buffs, their posts focused on sexual stereotypes associated with the church, and lewd comments were hurled at the students regarding temple garments, underclothing worn by a endowed member of the church. As a lifelong fan of CU football, I've never heard of a fan experiencing this type of behavior, let alone several. It should be noted that CU's chancellor, athletic director, and coach Deion Sanders all condemned and apologized for fans' actions that night. AD Rick George has also stated that the school is reviewing its policies for fan behavior and that fans who violate them will face consequences up to a ban from future home games. But for students like freshman Lisbeth Horton, the damage is already done. Saturday was her first CU football game. With plenty of BYU alumni in her family, a week of trash talk made it a battle she needed to watch the Buffs win. But when another student started yelling that she was a Mormon, she was hit in the head by a beer can. Horton had dreamed of going to school in Boulder since 6th grade. That night, she applied to transfer. For Scobuff Sports, I'm Lincoln Roach.
All right, Buffs, it is time for this week's trivia question. The question is inspired by CU's recent fine towards fans. It is, when was the last time CU football was fined by the Big 12? Stick around towards the end of the show for the answer reveal. Colorado volleyball takes over the Big 12 again as the Buffaloes took down the number 23 ranked team, the Utah Utes, in a sweep on Saturday. This is the second time in program history the Black and Gold have beaten back-to-back opponents in consecutive matchups on the road. Junior pin hitter Anna Berlovich led the matchup with 19 kills, 8 digs, and 1 block. Colorado looks to continue the Big 12 upsets as they play through the weekend. The Buffs are revived from the reserve sweep over the UCF Knights Thursday night. The Buffaloes played 5 sets, where 2 of those were deuce sets. Junior pin attacker Anna Barilovich recorded her career high of 32 kills, and Sydney Jordan recorded her second double-double of the season. Big 12 play will continue through the weekend on Saturday at the CU Event Center to face off the Houston Cougars at 1 p.m., and that game will be streamed on ESPN+. Maddie Nunez was at the game Thursday night. Here she is with a rundown of the win over UCF.
What's up, Buff fans? It's Maddie Nunez reporting to you from CU Event Center after the Buffs just beat the UCF Knights. The UCF Knights took the first and second set ending in 32-30 instead of 25 like it regularly does. The Buffs then made a rebound in the third, fourth, and fifth set. The Buffs took the final set at 22-20, which should have ended at 15. Anna Berlovich had a crazy game with over 32 kills, and Jesse Mahoney in that last set called 2 coaches' challenges, which helped lead in a pre-celebratory victory from the Knights, which was completely overruled pretty quickly. The Buffs plan on heading against the University of Houston this Saturday at 1 o'clock. This has been Maddie Nunez, Sbs Sports.
Thanks, me. And another trophy to the stellar pin attacker's resume because Anna Berlovich received awards this past week. The AVCA National Player of the Week and Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week award. This is the 8th time a Buff has won the National Player of the Week award, but the first since 2017, which was awarded to Alexis Smith. Only one Buff, though, has won it twice, and that was Taylor Simpson last season on November 5th and the 19th.
Colorado volleyball will continue conference play at home this Saturday against the Houston Cougars at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. This game will be streaming on ESPN+. While the Buffs are 3-0 in Big 12 play, of the last 7 matchups between the Cougars and the Buffaloes, CU leads 4-3. The Buffs lost the most recent matchup between the two, so the Black and Gold are fighting to make this time around a win for the Buffaloes to move 4-0 in the Big 12 this weekend.
More Big 12 conference play is still going on as the Buffs will travel to Tucson, Arizona this Wednesday to face the Arizona Wildcats at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The teams have played over 27 times in a span of 35 years, and in the past 3 years, each team has handed each other a win, with the most recent being the Wildcats sweeping the Buffaloes. For the Black and Gold to take the win this time around, the offensive assets such as Berlovich and Sydney Jordan need to be on top to gain the win over the Wildcats.
The women's volleyball team hasn't been the only one on a roll lately. The CU women's soccer team has been on the same wave. Taking on the Houston Cougars this past Sunday at Prentup Field, the first half was a tug-of-war between the two teams, with neither team putting up any points. The Cougars almost got away from the Buffs in the 40-minute mark, but their goal was called offsides and invalidated. Jordan Knights helped keep the clean sheet, blocking a total of 4 shots from the Cougars, but it was the 85th minute that was most notable. Jordan Whitaker was able to find Faith Leba, who then assisted Hope Leba in scoring a goal. This was the only score of the game.
Colorado stunned number 7 TCU with a 3-1 win on Thursday night. After falling behind early, the Buffs tied it up in the first half with a goal from Jace Hawley. They continued to pull ahead in the second with scores from Emerson Lane and Hope Leba. Goalie Jordan Knights was exceptional in this game, recording 9 saves against TCU's 26 shots to secure the victory. The win was Colorado's first against a ranked opponent this season and first against a top 10 opponent since 2021, improving them 9-1-2 overall and 3-1 in Big 12 play.
Coming up, the Buffs have another opportunity to take down a ranked team as they head to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. The Buffs will lean on Leba, who had a goal and an assist against TCU. Leba leads the nation in goals with 14 through 12 games. The Bears will be a tough opponent with their difficult-to-break defense. Baylor's Azul Alvarez has only let in 3 goals this season, leading the Bears to an 8-1-2 record.
To the hardwood, Colorado Women's Hoops has an exciting class of 5 freshmen this season. Forward Logan Greer was ranked top 80 as a recruit, and Harrison Simeon has an inside scoop on what makes her special. Check it out.
Logan is as advertised.
Shooter.
She is really good.
Flasher.
Her skill set is like a very young Brianna Stewart.
A pure like 3-level scorer.
She can shoot it, she can dribble, she can rebound, she can block shots, she can post up.
I try to model my game after taking
Hype is a funny thing. When you get your first Power 5 offer at 15, you're used to it. For Colorado women's basketball, it's unfamiliar territory. Logan Greer arrives in Boulder with comparisons to Brianna Stewart and idolization of Kevin Durant. High expectations that started at Friends Select School near Philadelphia. Her AAU days kept her busy, but level-headed in the process.
Our high school team, we played a national schedule, so we were playing against some of the top teams. And then for AAU, I was on like the 362nd and the Under and Nike, so I was on the 3 during at one point. So that definitely helped me get the experience.
After a lengthy recruiting process, Greer chose where most felt like family, the Buffs, last October.
They showed me the plan for me, and then like everybody here is just their like true, authentic self. Like there was nothing different behind the scenes or anything like that.
Don't let her nonchalance fool you. Coach J.R. Payne noted 2 teammates who helped Greer come out of her freshman shell.
I thought she was really quiet throughout the recruiting process, like not super loud or outgoing. And then when she got here and got surrounded by our players, Jade and Des in particular, she has this incredible personality. Like she's funny, she's dancing, she's TikTok, she's all of, sort of those fun things that you have in a team.
At 6'4", Greer boasts a 6'10" wingspan, giving the Buffs an athletic freak for the future.
I'm a big shot blocker.
All this is the makings of an elite prospect ready to start right away. Yet 24/7 Sports ranked her just 75 in their recruiting rankings. She faces the same concerns that KD or Stewie grappled with in their early careers, but as she takes her first steps on the CU Event Center hardwood, there's only one thing left to do.
She's like all freshmen going through sort of the challenge of like the weight room and the physicality and all of that, but she's just handled it all really well.
Quite frankly, she needs to muscle up, but if it comes together, she'll join a long list of multi-talented forwards to excel under Payne, such as Maya Hollingshed, Quay Miller, or her teammate in Masagayo.
Just take it day by day, because as a freshman, you're gonna have a lot of up and down moments, so you try to stay solid and keep your head level.
Boulder basketball needs a star again. Believe the hype with Logan Greer. Harrison Simeon, ScoBuff Sports.
Logan? Thank you, Harrison. If Greer psychs you up for the future of women's hoops, just wait. Coach Payne and the Buffs are going all out for a 5-star in-state recruit. Brianna Crittenden, the number 8 prospect of 2026, visited Boulder last weekend. Crittenden attends Riverdale Ridge High School up the road in Thornton, where she's won a state title and became the fastest Colorado high school athlete to ever surpass 2,000 career points. The 6'3" forward holds offers from nearly every power program, but still has her eyes on the nearby Buffaloes.
A Colorado women's basketball great was just knocked out of the WNBA playoffs. Jalen Sherrod of the Minnesota Lynx lost to the Phoenix Mercury in the semifinals 89-83 in overtime. Sherrod signed with the Minnesota Lynx midseason after spending her rookie year with the New York Liberty. In her rookie year, she helped the Liberty to a WNBA championship and appeared in 28 games in her tenure with New York. With Colorado, Sherrod was a 2-time All-Pac-12 selection and AP All-American honorable mention.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The tennis team travels to BYU on Tuesday to continue their successful fall season in the ITA Mountain Regional Championships. This tournament is an opportunity for all 9 Buffs players to qualify for the national tournament later this year.
The women's golf team earned their first team trophy in 8 years at the Ram Classic, and now they hope to keep things rolling at the Ron Moore Intercollegiate this weekend. The tournament, hosted by the University of Denver, will consist of 3 single round of 18-hole days.
Last weekend, the men's golf team hosted the Mark Simpson Invitational, and for the 4th year in a row, CU placed second in the tournament. The Buffs were bested by a total of 1 stroke as a late eagle from Arkansas State put them ahead. The team will get a chance at redemption next weekend at the Visit Stockton Pacific Invitational in Stockton, California.
Women's club soccer has had a very busy weekend ahead of them. Team Gold faces the School of Mines this evening at 7, and then travels to Denver tomorrow to play the Pioneers. Team Black will have an inter-squad matchup with Team Silver this evening before traveling to Fort Collins to play CSU. Team Silver will also play the Rams on Saturday afternoon. A full weekend with tons of Rocky Mountain action.
Heading into October, the men are keeping themselves busy as well. Team Gold will host the Mountain Lions of UCCS on Saturday at 1 p.m. On Sunday, Team Black welcomes the DU Pioneers to Kip Field. Team White will not see action again until next weekend when they play Colorado Christian. Catch Team Gold's matchup right here on Sbs Sports.
The club baseball team hosts the Colorado School of Mines this weekend at Scott Carpenter Park. It's their second series of the fall ball season, as the Buffs look to continue their 3-1 start. Game 1 is on Saturday at 4 p.m., and games 2 and 3 are on Sunday starting at 11.
The men's club rugby team will play Utah tomorrow at 2 here in Boulder. The Buffs are heading into the game after defeating Air Force 32-17 last Sunday. The Utes are 2-0 so far, taking down Weber State and Utah State. At 9 a.m. on Saturday, the women's club rugby team will head for Bozeman State to take on Montana State. The Buffs are coming off of a 48-0 win over CSU on Sunday. Montana State sights at 2-0 defeating Utah State and Boise State in their first 2 games of the season.
What's up, guys? I'm Harrison Simeon, bringing you a very casual edition of Plays of the Week. We've got 6 plays that stood out in Colorado sports, with a 7th as an honorable mention. So first off, we head to Provo, Utah, as the volleyball team takes on number 14 BYU, undefeated, but not if Anna Barilovic has anything to say about it. 4th set, game winner for the Buffs to snap BYU's unbeaten streak and make a statement to open Big 12 play. Number 6, we head to Folsom Field as the football team takes on BYU as well. Caden Salter fakes this handoff, looks up the seam, and he's got Draylon Miller past the defense for a big go-ahead touchdown. While the Buffs didn't win, this offense looks really nice when Draylon Miller is cooking. We'll look to see some more of him against TCU. Number 5, we keep it rolling with some volleyball as the Buffs took on UCF in a 5-set thriller, and that block was all she wrote as the Buffs stay unbeaten in Big 12 play with a big reverse sweep win over the Knights. Number 4, we keep it rolling with soccer as against Iowa State. Who else but Hope Leba to take a 2-0 lead for CU as the NCAA leader in goals has been absolute magic for Colorado this season. She put the Buffs ahead. They would go on to win that game, and they are rocking and rolling through Big 12 play. Number 3, we head back to football as Caden Salter on the opening drive bails out of this pocket in a little bit of danger, spins around, looks for a man, but he runs it in for a touchdown. Big time play by the senior transfer quarterback, and the offense will need some more spark if they want to take down TCU. We saw a lot of that in that first quarter. But number 2, we head to the NFL. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, 3rd down, looks deep. Travis Hunter, who else? The Heisman winner, makes the best play of his young NFL career. Number 1, we head back to Prentup Field as the soccer team looks for an answer against Iowa State. Ava Priest loops this cross in, and it's Hope Leba once again to put the Buffs up with a big celebration, and she has been unbeatable so far for Colorado. That's all for this week's Best Plays in Colorado Sports. I'm Harrison Simeon, and we'll see you in a minute.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Lily Delgado giving you the rundown on some can't-miss games this weekend. Starting strong on Saturday, catch the women's volleyball team take on the Houston Cougars in the CU Event Center, or stream live on ESPN at 1 o'clock. Later that day, we have the Colorado football team against the TCU Horned Frogs in a primetime fight on Fox. Kickoff is set for 5:30 on Sunday. The club baseball team has a doubleheader fight against the Colorado School of Mines, which you can live stream right here on ScoBuff Sports. Don't forget, men's soccer also has a noon game down in Waco, Texas against Baylor, also on ESPN+. That's our lineup. It's a big weekend for Colorado and Texas. Lots of matchups, but I'll just wrap it here with a ScoBuffs. Back to you at the desk.
And we are back to reveal this week's trivia question answer. As a reminder, the question was, when was the last time CU football was fined by the Big 12? And the answer is, the last time they were fined was last season after the fans rushed the field after the win against Baylor. This previous fine was $25,000.
Today's edition of the Tweet of the Week brings us to the press conference room. On Tuesday, Colorado football head coach Deion Sanders was asked by a reporter what he had learned during his first few years leading a program. To nobody's surprise, Coach Prime took an unexpected twist with his answer. So here's it is. Take a look. I'm Maddie Nunez.
And I'm Sophia Scaturo.
And we have got an exceptional week of sports ahead. And always remember, you heard it here first.